you guys, I hate my room looking like this. It's been weeks that I have felt behind and trying to catch up on stuff, and when I get like that, it's often my kind of sewing space that suffers because I'm running in here to do things and not taking the time to kind of clean up after myself. There's computers all over, a bunch of AV tech stuff. And so today I am taking the time to get this cleaned up. So the first thing I always start with is cleaning off my kind of cutting table workspace because I will need that to kind of organize the things that are currently on the floor. Now, there's just a lot of stacks of fabric and kind of trash and rulers, so let's clear this off first and then we'll have room to work. So I still have this gigantic scrap bin to deal with. You saw me kind of just shoving everything in there, and that's just a project for another time. Right now I need just kind of my big clean surface. So now I can deal with this kind of pile of projects on the ground. I have these couple of quilts here, and then these couple of quilted samples here that I need to deal with. So one of these quilts needs to be trimmed, and these other two need to be either photographed or they're part of a video. So I just need to fold those up and put them somewhere. But I can trim that quilt, and I can trim down these samples and get them ready for photography. And that'll be my floor a little bit better. Purple quilt is all trimmed and ready to be bound. Now, part of the binding is already on the quilt. You may have noticed while I was trimming. I put my binding on while my quilt is still on the long arm. I have a giant sewing machine right there. It's set up to sew, so it's just a little bit easier than kind of wrestling a large quilt at my regular sewing machine. So applying binding on the long arm is really no different than doing it on a regular sewing machine. You start here, which is when I'm quilting, this would be the bottom of the quilt, kind of the bottom center. So I start here and leave myself a nice tail and stitch all the way to the left. And then to do the sides, the way the long arm is set up, you have kind of a depth of quilting area, and then you have the whole quilt kind of side to side. So when I'm working up the side, I do have to go about 20 inches and then stop, and then just leave my needle down and kind of advance the fabric towards the top, and then sew another 20 inches, kind of advance, and then sew another 20 inches. And then I can go all the way across the top in one go. And then I kind of reverse the process to come down the other side and then kind of back to where I began. Now, I did put my little accent piece in, which is something I do on almost every quilt. And I just stitched down a little section, and now I have kind of two joins to do on my regular machine. So I am going to go ahead and do these two joins on this binding, and then I will be ready to kind of pass this quilt off to the next space where I hand bind, and it will be officially out of this room. And then I can move on and tackle the next project. All finished. It probably would have been better if I had slanted these miter joins in the same direction, but oh well. So ready to bind. So I'm going to get my binding kit ready with some yellow thread and stick this out in the living room where I will start working on binding it tonight. It's been like an hour. I don't even know where that time went. I sat down to do a couple of things and ended up working on my computer and doing a bunch of computer paperworky type stuff for like an hour, and didn't clean anything. So I did get a photograph taken of that sample, and some trash bagged up, but there's still all this stuff out, and I have piles of fabric all over. But it's time to buckle down and get rid of all of this pile of stuff that is in my way when I'm trying to get to fabric. So that's my next task. I need to just kind of figure out where things go. The magazines and stuff go downstairs. It's a pile of clothes to fix for my son. So I'm just going to kind of tackle all of these little things, put things away, fold some fabric, and hopefully when I come back, my rug will be nice and clear. It is several hours later, and da 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 da, my rug is all clear. I have just a couple things left to do. I folded about half of the fabric that was sitting over here and managed to arrange my bookshelves for all of my solids. I joined the Give Me All the Colors of Kona Club this year, and so I get a monthly shipment with about 30 colors. So we actually started at purple, and then we've gotten kind of the reds and pinks, and this month is kind of the oranges and yellows. So I finally folded last month's and put it up, and I'm kind of slowly letting my solids take over this whole shelf. I'm not exactly sure what will happen with these large cuts of Tula once I get there, but that is a problem for future me, so I'm not going to worry about that just yet. I have plenty of space to kind of expand into on that shelf, so I'm kicking that can down the road. So now that my room is fairly clean, I'm actually going to sew. I do have a few things that I would like to finish up doing, cleaning off my desk where like all of my computer stuff is, and folding the rest of that fabric stack over there. But I'm really looking forward to sewing. I feel like I don't always get a ton of sewing done in this room these days because it has been such a busy week the last few weeks. So it's currently about 1:30 and my kids get home in about 90 minutes. So I'm going to cram as much sewing as I can into that little slot of time, and we'll see what I get done. I hope you guys enjoyed this little behind the scenes look into the times that my craft room is a little messy, and it does happen. It happens often. You know, I'm a mom, I have a family, and I sometimes rush in here just to grab something or do something really fast, and I don't always put things back like you ideally should, but it only takes a morning or a day if your room is really a mess to kind of get it back to where you can sew really easily and have a nice kind of clean environment around you. And if you haven't ever, or if you're overdue for cleaning your craft room or your sewing space, then this is your chance. Go in there and just kind of fold some things, get them off your tables, and I promise you, you'll have a better sewing experience the next time you go in there. So I'm gonna go sew, and I hope you guys have an awesome day.